Okay, for everyone's been waiting for, we have a tradition here in GNA for the speakers to go all the way to the back of the room. Alright. And there's a reason for that.
Okay.
Alright.
What is that reason, Sal?
Real special. Grand entrance for our speakers. So today, we're going to have Miss Kristin Blomquist with Shaklee Corporation. Hold on, stay there. She's going to be talking about why supplement and what to look for. Okay? A few more specific subjects. She's going to talk about what is going on with food today, the increase of disease in America, how a healthy lifestyle can decrease those incidents of disease dramatically, things to look out for when going to purchase supplements. So, without further ado, let's bring up Miss Kristin Blomquist.
Woo!
So I'm going to try to get away with not using the microphone. Can everybody hear me?
Oh, you're just like Eric now.
I hate the microphone, so don't distract me. So thank you all for having me. I'm Kristin Blomquist. If you haven't met me, I've been part of the GNA for several months now. And if it's okay with you, I'd kind of like to share my story and how I got involved in my business. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I had a pretty normal childhood. I grew up here in the Bay Area, actually on a farm. Played lots of different sports and had a lot of activities. But in my late teens, I started noticing that I was gaining weight. My hair started falling out. I started getting severe acne. Going to doctors or pediatricians at the time, they just said I needed to eat less, exercise more, that I was just going to have thin hair. I wasn't supposed to have thick hair. I was just going to be a thin hair. And everybody has acne. And then it kept getting worse. And so I tried more and more things. At the age of 21, I actually finally found something that diagnosed me with something called polycystic ovarian syndrome, or also known as PCOS. It's actually very prevalent in America. 8 out of 10 American women have some form of it. And so you can have, there's about 10 or so different symptoms that you can have. You can have one of them, or you can have all 10. It affects women in different ways. And for me, I had quite a few of the symptoms. Because I have kind of meticulous records of what my progress had been, I was selected to be part of a couple of different studies in the medical world, including Stanford. And I thought those were the end-all be-all, right? When we're on the medical route, go to the top doctors, go to all these medical professions. But for most of my 20s, I was more sick than ever before. I had lots of depression because of being sick. My weight fluctuated. I was put on one drug that made me gain 75 pounds in 2.5 months. So I would literally go to bed at night. You could not put on the clothes I had worn the day before because we were starting to get tight. It was that drastic. At the end of a study of Stanford, I started it in 2005, and in 2007 it concluded. I was on $1,000 worth of prescriptions a month throughout that study that I was paying out of my own pocket. At that point, I was $30,000 in medical debt from trying to deal with this. And I was told that they had ruined my liver because of my age and the amount of drugs that I was on. So at the time, I decided that going natural was the way I was going to go. I started seeking out a naturopath, and about a month later, a friend introduced me. I actually saw her taking vitamins, asked her what they were. Throughout my treatments, I had taken vitamins. To be honest, they hadn't really helped me before. I was kind of skeptical. But I now learned that because we typically buy off the shelf at the local CVS isn't always the best quality. So that's why they probably weren't working. So within a couple months of me being on this, I stopped getting sick, which my boss really liked at the time. I have now way more energy. I don't have depression issues. I've lost over 100 pounds.
Wow.
Doing the good things for my body. I also have now switched to eating organically and all of those things. So that's kind of where I come from and how I got involved with this business. And so my big thing is I like helping people who obviously are situation, because for me, the medical route didn't work. Doesn't mean it doesn't work for everybody. It didn't work for me though. It actually made things worse. But I'm also more preventative thinking, and just don't wait until you are diagnosed with something to actually then take action, because then you're behind the 8 ball. If you can be preventative, it'll actually save you money in the long run. So, so I'll give you kind of the broad topics of what I'm talking about today. So 60 to 90% of all major diseases are prevented through healthy lifestyle and nutrition. So all the money that we're spending on disease management in this society can be prevented. We won't have to spend that. Including 80% of all heart disease in women, 60% of all cancers, and 90% of all type 2 diabetes. So all of those can be prevented through a healthy lifestyle. So yes or no, do you agree that there's more or less education in the world today around nutrition? More
Less. Much less.
Less? Okay, typically people say more. So
We're a smarter crowd here today.
no, okay. So I think what it is there's a lot of talk about it, but there's less real information that's given, especially by our government, correct? About what's going on. And so in the last 2 years, the incidences of diseases has continued to rise. So heart disease is the #1 killer, especially with women, and there has been a 9% increase in the last 10 years. Cancer is the #2 killer, and it has had a 20% increase in the last 10 years. And then type 2 diabetes, which is called the medical enhancer, meaning it leads to the heart disease and all these other problems, has had a 33% increase in the last 10 years, and that includes with children. And so, how many fruits and vegetables do you eat in a day? And so what I'm going to do is, if you eat 2 to 3 fruits or vegetables, servings of vegetables a day, raise your hand. Keep your hand up if you continue to eat 3 to 5. Keep your hand up if you eat 5 to 7. Keep your hand up if you eat 7 to 9. Okay, very good. So, the typical the daily recommended value is 7 to 9 servings. So, as you can see, the majority of us are not getting it. It's actually 98% of the population are not eating 7 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. And if they are, a lot of it comes in the form of French fries, which the government has labeled a vegetable. So if you are getting if you are eating on the higher level of fruits and vegetables, though, you still are 90% of us are still not getting the essential nutrients that our diets require. And that's where supplementation has been shown to improve. So let's talk about why. So if I'm doing the right things, I'm eating healthy, why am I still what we call overfed, undernourished? So who knows what GMO stands for? Suzanne?
Genetically modified organism.
Yeah, so a lot of our food is genetically modified. That makes it bigger, color brighter, mass produced. The problem is when you're modifying food, it's no longer natural and it affects the way it works in our body. And then chemicals and preservatives. Again, that's why they always tell you to eat on the outside of the grocery store, but then I say the bakery's on the outside. So, you might want to watch. But again, a lot of our foods, I have a friend whose parents took a Happy Meal, the Big Mac meal from McDonald's, and in 1997 decided to put it on their counter. It still sits on their counter. It never molded. It never deteriorated, it never smelled. The French fries got hard and the bun got hard, but everything else is perfectly intact. So if you are eating those, what is it doing to your body? Another kind of gross statistic is that they're having to embalm people less and less with the amount of chemicals. We're preserving ourselves, actually. So you might go, hey, I want to go buy McDonald's every day so I look younger. But it's not going to freeze you in time the way you think it is. So our soil is being depleted. We now used to farm for things in season. We now have things going season all year round, and we're not getting our soil because we've built up so much around it. I mean, the Silicon Valley used to be farming area. We've now put buildings on it, so we have small patches of land that we constantly keep growing on. And so if the soil doesn't have nutrients, your food isn't going to have nutrients. So those are some of the things. Where did I go? Sorry. Meats, poultries, dairy, all injected with hormones, antibiotics. So again, if they're giving it to the animal, you're going ahead and receiving it when you take it in. Early harvesting, again, because we want our strawberries year-round. Transporting and the storage of food. So look again on the labels of where your food is coming from. If it's coming from another country, even if it says organic, it may not be U.S. organic standards. And again, trying to eat within the season. And I had a friend in college, his family owned a cabbage business in upstate New York, and they actually would sell to restaurants year-round, and they would keep it in what they call cold storage. And to give you an idea is, so when the restaurants needed the cabbage, like in the off-season, they would peel the molded layers away, and then they ship it off. And that's just standard practice. So your food is kind of rotted before you got it. And so they would send it to the grocery stores and the restaurants. So again, buying things out of season, you could have those things happening. And then too much sugar consumption is going on. They put sugar in all of our products. And so what does sugar consumption do? It depletes the immune system. 12 tablespoons of sugar will decrease the immune system's ability to destroy bacteria by 60%. So any of the children's, those sugary cereals, Pop-Tarts, a lot of those on-the-go breakfast things that we are giving our kids, they are already going into school with a decreased immune system before they hit the door. So no wonder why they're getting sick more. It depletes our nervous system. So it takes away critical vitamins and minerals that are needed for the nervous system to function. And in order for our body to actually process the vitamins and minerals that we're putting in. So we could be putting good things into our body, but if we also include all that extra sugar, it's not getting utilized in the right way. For those who need to watch about cholesterol, it's not just the fat, it's also the sugar intake. It raises the insulin levels in your body, which also raises the LDL, which are the bad cholesterols. And it actually makes the HDLs, which are the good guys, inactive. So those are some of the things with sugar. And they're very sneaky about what they put their sugar in. So it's in your ketchup, it's in your salsa, it's in a lot of those things that you wouldn't normally think about. So what is sugar consumption led to? So diabetes, obviously, I mean, that's just a given. Hypoglycemia, inability to handle stress. So isn't it funny when we get stressed out, we go running to Starbucks for our sugary coffee, or we go grab a Red Bull or soda or something like that. And we think that's going to make it better. It's just making it worse. It then leads to mood changes. And they can really see that, and a lot of parents will also talk about, don't give my kids sugar candy at night because we'll be up all night. I mean, obviously it changes the child's behavior. As adults, we don't realize it's also doing it to ourselves. Behavior problems, again, that can be seen in a lot of children, but adults too. Once you wean yourself off the sugar, you will start noticing that sometimes you didn't have behaviors that you did when you were hooked on sugar. Tooth decay, we've all heard about since we were children. Digestive problems, poor immune system, like we said, it depletes your immune system, and heart disease, and then cancer. So cancer is also linked up to too much sugar consumption as well. So some other reasons why you would want to consider possibly supplementing your diet, even with what's going on with food, is if you are somebody that's had an accident or an illness, especially if you are somebody that's been sick for a while, if you're on a lot of antibiotics, again, it depletes the good and bad bacteria from your body, and so your body needs the good bacteria in order to fight off all those other illnesses. That's why you'll see sometimes people get the perpetual colds because they will get on an antibiotic which kills, and then they'll get on another antibiotic, and so the entire flu season they've been sick because they never got their good bacteria back up. Age, again, there's certain things that happen if we become less involved as we get older. Those are some other reasons why you may need to supplement in certain areas. If you have a large amount of alcohol consumption, it will lead to that. Again, antibiotic use. Athletes, again, if you are outputting a lot, again, I'm all for exercising, but the more you exercise, the more nutrients you need to take in. So you can, if you're a really big athlete, you will need more than the 7 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables. You actually have to increase that. Bioindividuality, again, it could be your body, your heritage, your lifestyle, whatever it is for yourself. If you eat a lot of convenience foods, so that includes prepackaged foods and fast foods. Allergies, so if you have food allergies, obviously then you have to avoid those foods, but there are nutrients you need to get from those foods either through supplementation or through other foods, and that's something you need to work on. And unfortunately, a lot of the medical world is still not versed in nutrition a lot, so a lot of it you have to do research on your own. So if you do have a food allergy or something that limits, you're going to have to either do research or find somebody, a nutritionist that can specialize and help you. If you have a limited exposure to sunlight, if you have poor digestion, obviously if you're pregnant, a lot of us know that. If you take birth control actually lowers your vitamin C levels naturally, so you would want either to eat additional vitamin C sources or take in vitamin C. If you are a smoker, for every cigarette you smoke, it brings down your vitamin C levels, and so they say for every cigarette you actually need to eat an orange. But if you ate too many oranges in a day, that could actually become toxic. So vitamin C is something that you are actually depleted on, the nutrients, if you are a smoker. If you're under a lot of stress, or if you take a lot of laxatives, again, because those are depleting your body of what it needs. So we're not only getting it from the foods we take in. There's a lot of other reasons why we may need to supplement, including the chemicals in the air and the water. So actually many poisonings actually happen gradually through skin absorption and by daily exposure to toxins. So it's not like all of a sudden. It's that typical, gosh, I've just been feeling tired for a while now, or I have headaches I've had a little headache every day for months. Or it's little things like that that you don't really add up to something which says you're being exposed to toxins that your body is not liking. And so poisons can come from carpet, plastics, dry cleaning, and actually a baby crawling on the floor breathes in the toxin equivalent of 4 cigarettes a day from molds, mildew, fungi, out of gassy carpets and dust mites. So for those of you that have little children that are crawling around and playing around on the floor, that's typically what they're breathing in. So you may not be a smoker in your home, but they're still getting that from the toxins that they're breathing in. Every year, 255 metric tons of chemical waste are dumped into our nation's water supply and into our environment. The toxins, substances find their way into our water, so the water that we drink every day. Again, we have to stay hydrated. So many cancer-causing chemicals, especially, are put in our water to clean it up. So they tell, we need to clean it up, like chlorine. Chlorine, they put in your water, we're going to clean it, we're going to make it better for you, but actually it causes cancer. And this is research going back all the way to 1980 that they've known this, but they continue to put it in. Fluoride is put in to prevent tooth decay, but it has negative health consequences, including rectal, colon, and bladder cancer from both chlorinated and fluoride water. So all these things that it gets better actually lead to more disease. Just things to keep out. So now that you know of reasons why you should supplement, how do you know who to go with? Because there is no FDA regulation on this. I wish there was, but there isn't. So it's buyer beware, and it's you do your research type of environment. And so one thing I'm going to talk about is that there was a landmark study. There's been the company I represent, Shaklee, is the only company that has ever had a study done on it, on showing the long-term use of supplements. It's great if you can show show something over a period of a couple of years, but what does it mean to have something for somebody's lifetime? What does it look like if they're a lifetime user? What is the outcome? Because obviously, if we're doing preventative, you want to show what it is. And so, if you'd like more information on that, talk to me after. I can send you to the website. It's actually thelandmarkstudy.com. It was done by UC Berkeley on what happened, and it showed how, basically in 8 biomarkers of good health, that the Shaklee users had better health in all of those areas. So how do you buy your supplements? Look for a company that focuses on a real need for those type of nutrients. Don't look for just trends. A lot of companies just look for the latest trend. You know, Kova was a real big trend back in the 80s, I think, like that. I mean, there's all these different fads. Make sure that there's a real need for those nutrients. A lot of them promote riboflavin. Riboflavin is in every preservative. We're getting plenty of riboflavin. Go ahead and skip that one. And then for a stable, balanced formula, don't go with a company that just totes because they have more of ingredient X than the other company. You may not need more than, of ingredient X. Honestly, supplements are there for what they say they are. Supplements. Meaning you should be getting the majority of your nutrition from your diet and using these just to fill in the gaps. If you are looking for it to take over and be your nutrition, then you're looking at it from the wrong end. It really should just be to fill in those areas that I talked about. And so, again, more of ingredient X, like calcium. I mean, we shouldn't need 100% calcium because we should be getting it from our daily diet. There's other things that we don't need 100% of because we should be taking that in. Also, a lot of them, like vitamin B and iron, there's different source grades. So look at the research the product. Is it a high level of vitamin B or is it a cheap level of B so they can go ahead and bounce it up and put a ton of it in there and it may or may not work. So those are some things that you would like to take a look at. Look for a company that has raw ingredients that are sourced from natural sources whenever possible. Natural materials often contain beneficial effects. Obviously, our bodies respond to natural ingredients versus synthetic. And so there's a lot of ways you can kind of test your own supplements at home. One way is to drop it in a little bit of apple cider vinegar and water and see if it dissolves and how quickly it dissolves. If it doesn't dissolve within a few minutes, it's not dissolving in your body. We spend a lot of money on supplements that go through our entire digestive system that never get absorbed. So if you want to save yourself money, a lot of the synthetics aren't breaking down. You can also bake them. So if you bake your supplements, if you put them in a 350-degree oven and bake them, it should kind of puff up a little bit, but you shouldn't get an odor from it. But a lot of them, your house will start to smell like chemicals, and it's the chemicals that are in those synthetic supplements that are now, smelling. A lot of them will break up and ooze and bubble and look like a chemical experiment. Again, that's what's going on when you put them inside your body. So for a company that meets standards of purity, potency, and identity before they use each batch of products. Again, just because they did one study years ago doesn't mean that that product that you're taking now is still pure. So make sure that they have testing along the way. There should be no colors or sweeteners added. Again, there should be no preservatives, so your supplements should expire. Most of them, even now in the grocery store, will have an expiration date. Pay attention to that. It's like eating expired food. You shouldn't take it in. Packaging materials. So what is the research the company? What do they package their materials in? What does the bottle look like? How do they get it to and from? Because actually, again, they may have tested it from the source ingredient, and then they could have tested it when it went through production, but did they test it after they've shipped it somewhere? Because shipping and storage and all of those things can take an effect on the vitamin or supplement itself. So you want to make sure that it didn't, and that you're actually getting the item that they had tested that you were purchasing for, paying for. So again, when you're storing your supplements, Don't store it in humid areas. Don't store it in really high heat, really bright areas. Again, kind of treat it as if it were food. Because if it's high quality non-synthetic, then it should be. So every batch of our products are subject to quality control tests. So again, we may have had a clinical study done a while back, but then we go ahead and retest every single batch that ever comes out to make sure that it meets our standards. And we pull our products off. We've never had a recall in the over 55 years that we've been out. And so we'll pull it before any other company or agency tells us to pull it. We pull the whole entire makeup line and no longer carry it because of that. They could not find uncontaminated sources. So we'd rather not make money than make money. But look for companies that do similar type of things. You want to look for companies that have articles published in peer-reviewed journals. Again, People Magazine should be where you should go for your sources of help. I even warn people a little bit about Dr. Oz. You want to do your own research just because he lists it doesn't always mean it's healthy. And so, yeah, peer-reviewed journals, scientific journals. Again, was it done on that product or on that type of supplement? And what I mean by that, was it done by vitamin C and they're saying, oh, our vitamin C product's great, look at this journal article. Or was it done on their vitamin C? It's a big difference. We all know that vitamin C is great. There's hundreds of articles that you can find out about it. Is it done on that specific product? And is it done on all the ingredients in that product? So, like this. So we actually have over 100 published clinical studies of peer-reviewed journals. And then the other thing you want to look for pharmaceutical grade products. And so those are ones that meet purity and potency standards that are a little bit like the ones that are synthetic. And so just to, so you know, to be pharmaceutical grade, it goes down to when they are punching out tablets, like say they punch out vitamin C and then they're going to switch to vitamin E. When they are non-pharmaceutical grade, they're able to hose it down and start in. On pharmaceutical grade, you actually have to disinfect everything, take it apart, disinfect the nuts and bolts and everything, because what happens is those machines shake. And say you're allergic to vitamin E, and you go to take your vitamin C tablet, it had a little vitamin E, and it's kind of like, oh, this doesn't make me feel that great, but I've been told to take it, so I just keep taking it and keep taking it. But your body's just slowly being exposed to something you're allergic to over and over and over again. So those are some things to look for. And then the company should release all technical information about their products to you. So whether it's published, they should publish all their clinical studies so you can make sure that they are what you thought they would be. You should be able to find all of their ingredients and be able to take that to a medical professional if you need to. So, and then in order, when you're shopping, make sure that the products are 100% unconditionally money back guaranteed, because if they're doing all the things that they said they can do, then they should be able to stand by your product. Again, we're individual people, so not one thing is going to work for everybody. So again, if the product is great, then they should be willing to take it back if it didn't work for you. So, any questions? Yeah.
This is a phenomenal talk. I can tell you that. I've been exposed to this industry for 35 years. What she was giving you is some of the best information you've just received.
Thank you.
Yeah. Phenomenal, truly phenomenal. Do watch this video.